Welcome to Modern Manipulation. I wanted to start out by saying thank you for joining us. Today we are going to talk about subconscious trust and the use of superficial or accidental associations to build undue trust with constituents. We will mainly focus on President Donald Trump and how manipulation played a role throughout the process of his election and re-election and current presidency. But other politicians across the political spectrum can use similar tactics. It's more important to analyze the consequences of people's actions rather than what is said, and to analyze the data and the truthfulness of what they say about complex subjects, rather than our tendency to summarize and simplify for ease of processing and reacting to statements or data. Throughout his election campaign, Donald Trump used charts and graphics when speaking to his constituents and supporters. Regardless of the accuracy or lack of accuracy of those charts, some people would struggle to make a clear and precise and well-made graphic overnight to show and present to a crowd. So the subconscious association people can be prone to make when seeing someone hold a chart or infographic that took someone time and effort is the person holding this chart and talking about the chart is intelligent. It doesn't matter if the chart is accurate. It's simply a potential visual association that can build undeserved trust. This is similar to what a handshake or a friendly wave or holding constituents' babies when handed from them does in any political candidate's assumed or subconscious trust. It bridges an assumed trust gap and makes that person seem more approachable and caring subconsciously, even if those actions do not match their actual values or other actions later on. Donald Trump's simplistic way of talking and at times rambling about other subjects like sharks or TV cameras makes him seem more approachable. Even extremely intelligent or more literate people can feel unthreatened by someone who speaks with a childlike, simplistic, unpredictable, and slow or staggered pace to their speech. It doesn't matter if Donald Trump is a millionaire, unlike the majority of people that support him. The way he talks, the way he dresses, even if inadvertently, makes him seem approachable subconsciously, even if his eventual goals or later actions are obfuscated from his supporters or public opposers. Donald Trump understands tribes. He knows how to rile people up and deny and delay and distract from personal responsibility. Donald Trump thrives on chaos, either egged on or naturally occurring. The MAGA movement or tribe is a hijacked riff off of dead Ronald Reagan's Make America Great movement. The tariffs have destabilized economic sectors in the effort to stress the American public while capitalizing inside advantages on the stock market or social stress and turmoil. Regardless of the conspiracy theories of why and the illegitimacy and the wrongfulness of the assassination attempt on President Trump, the assassination attempt and his thankful but narrow survival helped subsequently vulcanize and validate MAGA and Trump's seemingly persecuted ideology in the public eye. His survival of the attempted assassination, by unconscious and simplistic association, gave the appearance of Trump having a cause worth dying for, even if mental illness, lack of gun control, or unclear motivations were the shooter's motive, and not a conspiracy or being a healthy reason to support Trump in the polls. Donald Trump is a Las Vegas, Nevada man through and through. If you go to Las Vegas, you will see businesses and people that promise a lot to anyone, but always take a little from everyone that participates there. The people that gamble or play there are promised the chance of riches beyond their dreams, or great food, or amazing sex, but it is usually at an untold cost that is not worth the price of admission or the other consequences. If you convince many people that they can win big or be cared for, and if they give you money, then you can take from each of them a little and only care for a few of them a lot. And the dream and marketing of "it could be you that wins next" lives on. As big as America is, taking advantage of individuals and their separate, non-unionized, or shared ideologies is big business. A sucker is born, one at a time. Even failed casino men know this. Donald Trump's painting and targeting of immigrants as criminals and traffickers and potentially jeopardizing safety and opportunity in America, as well as his threats to invade Venezuela, buy Greenland, or trade for Canada as a 51st state, mirror his admiration for Putin invading Ukraine, match his need to feel powerful and be vindictive, and create the theme of a common enemy among his supporters. In this case, the fear-mongering and scapegoating is Latin and South American migrants, and the fantasized and more militant, if not really existent, political left. This despite polarized and mentally ill gun violence supporters across any political spectrum as a minority. Trump's verbal suggestiveness to use the military in American cities and fire any career general that opposes him and offer to fund the military with private funds rather than public declare his heartlessness and desire to control things that do not belong to him, but rather belong to the American public for good and social stability. Donald Trump in his second term has chosen people who are more than willing to lie for him and carefully display him and his MAGA values as the persecuted victim while he fleeces capitalism and government with potential insider trading and government subsidizing of their investment choices like his colleagues. His appointees and staff regularly deflect and deny any wrongdoing and counter-accuse others and those asking questions during public hearings. It's a publicity stunt and money game. The older Trump gets, the bolder he will probably become with less time. He does not have to face the consequences for fleecing his constituents or persuading people to hate one another and contribute to general anger and violence. Trump exaggerates and capitalizes on differences between tribes or groups and those who have resources and those who think they have resources but really do not have resources. His claim that the White House would remain untouched for his ballroom, and then irreverent and irreversible construction demolition of the east wing of the White House, shows that Trump does not believe in truth or personal accountability. He exists to get and take as much as he can from others. Trump pardoned the gay Republican convicted aggravated fraudster George Santos, who was expelled from Congress because Trump, in his actions, supports people who financially defraud others. Trump, by those pardoning actions, puts the blame on the donors who were defrauded, just like he would never punish himself for financially defrauding others. A similar Trump pardon for financial money laundering was in cryptocurrency exchange founder of Binance, Changpeng Zhao. Zhao pleaded guilty to negligently allowing a platform that let sanctioned countries like Iran do business with Americans. If I had to speculate, I do wonder if Trump would like to have Qatar jet fighters on U.S. soil because he may have to flee the country if a majority of the U.S. gets tired of his erratic, chaos loving, and vindictive nature. He has a constant need to be seen as a persecuted victim when consequences are near, like Napoleon, and to be held as a hero among other countries with questionable civil rights. Trump understands the power of tribes or polarized groups and the power of the cycles of trauma, subsidization, and opportunity. Trump knows that the more government subsidized jobs and government assistance he cuts would support people that probably politically oppose him, the less their voices will be heard. The more stress people receive, and if they choose violence out of desperation, the more his militant and National Guard deployments will be portrayed or viewed as necessary to some. His job-cutting and Doge actions were to pacify and placate his constituents while enriching himself and give his opponents less power, wealth, and subsidized opportunity. His rhetoric that certain more politically aligned as democratic cities are lawless war zones in need of federalized National Guard deployment and ICE capturing of migrants and children are playing into his desire for exercising power over his opposers and him verbally suggesting the military practice in U.S. cities. He is an aging, unempathetic, vindictive man whose personal financial goals and political and judicial punishments are solely to punish people not on board with him and enrich himself and supporters under the guise of Christian nationalistic policies and America First themes. Trump wants America to be so hateful and short-sighted and short-fused that when there is chaos, when there are protests, when there is inflation due to tariffs, when there are government shutdowns, when there are lost SNAP benefits, half of the country will beg for an authoritarian like Trump to solve the imaginary and carefully cultivated social or economic problems at whatever cost. And if Americans see the National Guard in other U.S. cities but say, hey, that's not so bad, and it's not close to me or in my yard, they will slowly get used to a militant police state and a new way of living and making money that Donald Trump wants. The reason Trump chooses beautiful, obedient, but serial lying members of government to do his desires, and a press secretary that wears a big Christian cross, yet constantly deflects and denies about the president's actions and always counter-accuses by painting the Democrats as less than human, and stonewalls that other people are the real problem on Truth Social, is because subconsciously people associate beauty and Christianity with truth and goodness. It doesn't matter if Cross Lady or some beauty queens are liars. If you look good on TV and are eloquent, obedient, and can deceive, demur, and delay when requested, you can be held to a lesser standard than if you are ugly and misspeak once. It's like pretty privilege within the social economics of politics. Many of today's politicians, and even some Democrats, and not just Trump or many Republicans, although Trump has found a MAGA tribalistic type art to the political process, are less political servants and more political actors that are less interested in a more perfect union than they are their own financial gain artists and professional grifters. Subconscious trust and the use of accidental or superficial associations, like charts and Christian crosses, rants about simple subjects and guises or riffs off of Ronald Reagan statements, false promises and nationalistic Christian movements to build undue and undeserved trust with constituents and the public, vilifying and punishing your opponents with a frenzy while you pardon financial abusers within capitalism. That's modern manipulation.